Hey friends, welcome back. This is a good week. We are digging deep into our personal stories. We have added some great exercises to this journal to help you uncover patterns and insights into your own personal stories. You don't want to miss out on completing the genogram activity or doing the timeline activity, both of which are so helpful in our own growth and in our relational dynamic between the people we serve, the people at home, and even within our own self, how we view and relate to ourselves. So, speaking of personal stories, I'm going to share a tidbit of my personal story with you about an interaction that I had with a TIAS trained first responder. About 15 years ago, I was addicted to prescription pain pills. At the time, I was a mother of three. I was homeschooling my oldest daughter, and I was a licensed massage therapist. We spent every moment that we were not at work or school in the water, teaching our kids to surf and just enjoying the beach together. The end of that period of addiction, I had almost lost everything. I had lost my job. I had to give up my massage license. I had lost my love for the ocean and for surfing, and I was very close to losing my family. One intense evening, things got really heated between my husband and I. And kind of in a desperate attempt for help, he called the police. He thought that calling the police would somehow get me arrested or in trouble so that I would be taken somewhere where I could no longer take those pills. The police came, and there was no crime that they could arrest me for. However, there was one particular police officer who went above and beyond. He could tell by our house, seeing the surfboards, seeing different flyers from our church and whatnot around the house that we had that in common. And he shared that he also surfed and he also attended the same church. He told me about some of his friends from high school, some of his female surfer friends, even that also got addicted to these pills and they had lost everything. He told me a story about a girl who, ended up on the street as a prostitute. He told me about another girl that overdosed. And he just took the time to really connect with me in a non judgmental way, but also remind me of the seriousness of the choices I was making at the time. He said, I know just by talking to you that you have a natural love for life, that you love your family, that you're a good person. And I promise you, if you don't do something to address this, you're going to lose all of that. I didn't want anybody to know. And I also didn't want to reach out for help because I was afraid of what people would think. I was afraid of having to be separated from my family. Yet, having this one conversation with someone who I didn't know, who connected with me on some similar interests and beliefs, who took the time to talk to me and remind me that there are people that do care, that don't judge, and that help is available, really made an impact on me. A week later, I took the steps I needed to take to get clean and leave that part of my life behind. My life did a complete 180, 360, whatever you want to call it. And I, began enjoying my family again, began enjoying surfing again. I went back to school to do 6 years of college to become a therapist. And during that time, I was working with families, at risk families, helping them through some of the same struggles that I had gone through myself. About 5 years after that day that he came to my house, I was at Starbucks and I recognized him in front of me ordering coffee. I told him that I really appreciated him taking the time to talk to me, to treat me like a human being with dignity and respect and compassion and non judgment. I told him about the turn my life had taken and about all the wonderful blessings that I got to enjoy since being sober. I can remember the feeling of that conversation, how excited I was to share with him the impact he made. And it was a thrilling, exciting, satisfying experience for me. I went home and told my husband about it, told some of the people at work about it. About a week later, one of our unbeknownst mutual friends came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you ran into so and so the other day." This person shared with me that um, the officer had been struggling um, with his career choice, with feeling like he wasn't making an impact, with some other things, and that apparently that conversation that we had that day in Starbucks was also just as thrilling and exciting and motivating to him. They told me that it actually renewed his sense of purpose as to why he became a police officer in the first place. And that is a beautiful example of how connection can work both ways. When we step out of our comfort zone, when we take off the glasses of judgment and we look at people as just genuine other humans that are struggling, maybe in different ways, but they are struggling just like we all struggle. And we take the time to connect and to express compassion, to express concern, to try to motivate people to see like the bigger picture of what's going on in their circumstance at the moment, it can have a ripple effect, not only for the people we're interacting with, both back and forth, but also what that ignites in that person and what they go on to do from there. To top it all off, my husband and I connected with a really awesome local surf organization and we volunteered for an event. It was a surf with a first responder event. And lo and behold, as I'm down on the beach setting up that morning, I see this police officer down there doing the same thing, setting up to help with this awesome event that takes water, activities, and the therapeutic power of water to use to bridge the gap, to create relationships, and to overcome trauma. We walked up and talked with him and had hugs and all that stuff and took pictures, and I can just say that that was one of the most amazing series of experiences that I've had with a first responder, and I will never forget it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you can appreciate the value of not only my vulnerability in sharing some of those details, but also see the power that a first responder, a TIAS trained first responder, can have in not only impacting one person, but how that person can then impact so many other people. You don't know the seeds that you're planting when you interact with people from a trauma informed perspective. All right, guys, that's enough for Power of Story. We are going to move on to next week. I'll see you then. Have a great week. Bye.